Hiya, this video is about the state like to poison the waters with doubt, but hey, it's their own future that is finally in doubt. People are starting to wake up to this, starting to wake up to the propaganda matrix. Anyway, start with some familiar themes. I just scribbled this down because I thought people would maybe overlook this, that I have said it before, but people might say, oh, well, Downing Street and Parliament still exist. If we had the state superstructure brought to its knees like I hope so, Downing Street and Parliament would still exist, but people's courts would be sovereign over them, or something to that effect. I'm not a dogmatist propagandist myself. It doesn't have to be exactly like Paul says it to be. Otherwise, I might as well just join them and be all power tripping and status minded and wanting to get vast wealth and power for myself. I'm not like that. So these Downing Street and Parliament would be considered as weak and subordinate, thought of as relics of the propagandist past. The peace and the quality constitution would prevail. That is what would be most important. So I imagine now people saying, oh, if you had this peace thing, does that mean your nation wouldn't be protected? Of course it would. Defence would mean defence, not attack and not foreign wars. Even UKIP types agree with this. So, and Trumpists even agree with this. Everyone. So this is what people want. This is what the left want as well. So you've got the right and left consensus, but state superstructure is a different matter. They don't care. They don't care what people think. They'll do what they damn well like. Okay. But we'd have military, for defence in case a nation tried to invade the UK. That's extremely unlikely to occur. In 150 years, only the German Nazis have planned to do so, and they're considered an aberration. Nevertheless, you never know, just like with the Nazis. So there is. So there's no definitely we need a defence, definitely for protecting ourselves. But this is in case of something, I don't know, like a South American country starting to invade us or something. It's just not likely to happen, but we need it just in case. This is different from foreign wars attack policy and different from supporting the US empire building. All that would be gone, 100%, no doubt about it. No one lays a finger on us, no one threatens us, and we're peaceful people. We don't bloody attack. And that is becoming more prevalent in people's minds, more what people want. So it's just the state superstructure against that. That's against us. Now the plan, and moving on to another point completely, the plan's a massacre of the party political deflection actors after the next election. The blue team should destroy the blue team. The red team should destroy the red team. They're both the same, so it doesn't matter. We celebrate in the streets as the beginning of sanity can be imagined. These are propagandists we're against. They're not bloody, it's not a bloody nice thing we're against. It's a bad thing we're against. It's really horrible. For the first time in history, there is real opposition and threat to the UK's state superstructure. Finally, it's possible to imagine this vastly propagandist, violent criminal network being brought down by good people. I am certain that they need to be taken down. An absolute takedown, not no relativity about it. Take them down. It's their propaganda that makes me certain no one has a right to do that propaganda and just get, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. Of course it bloody matters. Make Orwell fiction again. Our state superstructure aims at a monopoly on narrative. In reality, their narrative is just propaganda. That's what that means, basically. If you're state superstructure and you're a monopoly on narrative, you want to control the agenda, emissions propaganda, which means you just keep out certain things from ever being discussed that are inconvenient to your power. And on the agenda setting you do want them, you repeat it, repeat it, and repeat it, and repeat it, and repeat it, so that 80 years later, it's still the same crap you were putting out 80 years ago. As if you have some kind of divine right to this vast power, and other people have no right. So, like, if you're a celebrity has a megaphone like they have, and you were putting out peace and equality stuff, they would want you arrested. That is wrong. That is wrong. That is not how it should be, but it's how it is. It dishes out that propaganda. Oh my God, it does not want you to do the same thing. Not for a good cause, nowhere. So 24/7 it does that. It does it week after week. It does it month after month. It does it year after year. It does it decade after decade. And it does it century after century. And it does it for the purpose of getting into your head. It's not doing it for a laugh. I wish it was. If it was for a laugh, it's a sick joke. Get those fools brought down. Make Orwell fiction again. UK state superstructure narrative propaganda needs to know that for the first time in history, it is getting challenged. No more crime. No more crime. The police are here now. The police are here to take you down. The police are here to arrest you. The police are here to sort you out. This violent buggery, mind-possessing, evil, fascist, propaganda, extremism is not what life is about. Life's about being better than that. You are finished. That's our message now. We're not messing about anymore. We view the UK state superstructure like the enemy within. The reason why we don't view them as able to negotiate with is because they do not admit that they are a propaganda matrix. They are terrorists who basically don't admit to being that. They don't admit it. Their propaganda won't allow it. Their propaganda is far too smart for being so stupid as just to say, hey, look, we're bad guys. We're very bad. You know what I mean? That's not how they rock. That's not how they roll. They're more smart than that. Give them credit. And I'm not being sarcastic when I say they're smarter than that. I do. I've said it often in my videos, and I've explained how they are smart. But it's the state superstructure collectively, taken as a collective whole, has no conscience, none whatsoever. They would kill me if their propaganda got seen through, and there was a more extroverted version of me on the streets. It was just as good a person as I am now. They'd kill me because that's what they're ultimately for: power, wealth, their own control, their own status. They're not there to be nice. The state superstructure doesn't exist to be nice. So if it's seen through, they'd think the military out and they'd kill their own people. So they're a propaganda matrix, and naturally propagandists are not very good propagandists if they blurt it out that they're propagandists. It's just self-evident. If I was part of the state superstructure, I would talk like they do. But if they do not back down, it's all going to get ugly. So, like, they put doubt in people's mind when they write, for instance, clever-sounding articles against equality. That's to put doubt in the mind. That's part of the propaganda matrix. Put doubt in the mind on something that is bloody obvious that we should strive for. It's okay to say that there's problems with trying to get this equality stuff put through. We need to think about this and this. It's not okay to just say, we shouldn't have that. No, none of that. None of that. No equality. To keep the status quo. See, but they don't. So like, I'm not saying that an article that points out problems that need solving before I can get the equality on something. But when you look at all the historical examples of education, healthcare for people, getting money to people, and every time they're trying to stop it with just propaganda. It's not like they're trying to say, look, we've got to think about this and this first, then we can get it done. Got to do it right. You know, we're not Scandinavia, we're Britain. We treat people like twats. You know what I mean? And that's the problem there. That's what I mean by a propaganda matrix casting doubt in people's minds. The thing I said about Scandinavia there, obviously I'm not Scandinavian. I'm not sure that they're always whiter than white on these things. I'm just going by the reputation there. So if that's wrong, sorry. But yeah, and in the case of the UK, I've got no doubt that they do that. They do that, and their aim is just, and you see it now in the States with universal healthcare. Just put it out there. Just say the buzzwords: Soviet, commie, Stalinist, all that kinds of stuff. It's nonsense. It's absolute propaganda, and it's disgusting. What the state should be saying, some should be just enthusiastic about it, sure, and others should be like saying, let's think about getting this done correctly, but not just this, it's Soviet communism. That's just stupid. I've got no respect for that whatsoever. Sorry, Bean. Bean just heard a bit of a crackle with my notes and woke her up. My border collie. So getting back to this, yeah, that is something I really can't stand. Just the vile put downs, and often those buzzwords where they're going about communism, Soviet, Marxism, which is all bollocks. They're not. It's not what these things are ever. And all the examples I can think of, they've never been aimed at making Britain or America a communist society. Right? And also, those buzzwords tend to be inserted into a more clever sounding article. So it's not like, so although they're stupid, and although sometimes they are just blurted out by individual like politicians or something like that without any sensible stuff put in, sometimes it's just all wrong. It's just put in a smart sounding article that then makes it sound like it's believable to some people, and that's horrible. And it's part of the thing that motivates me to bring this kind of shit down, this shit show down. We are smarter than that. We don't fall for this crap anymore. We don't fall for it at all. I mean, I can't stand it. The smart sounding articles that put in these buzzwords in order to trash it all. The buzzwords are the most important things to them. Put in the bullshit and the poison, but then make it sound like smart. It's like slimy. It's so slimy. It's rotten at the core. The "we can't afford it" line as well. Oh, I always think, and so the people who are impoverished can afford their impoverishment, can they? Terrible, terrible, absolutely terrible. I mean, like, the US can't afford universal healthcare, yet all the other Western nations can. Doesn't sound right, does it? Because it's not right. Bullshit. So there's vast inequality in wealth, income, power, status is what it's really all about. I mean, it's going to happen with universal basic income this as well. You're going to get these stupid arguments and reports that are just basically trying to preserve the status quo, trying to preserve the existing power, income inequality, trying to maintain the power and control cushy world that they're living, and yet wording it like it's bad for those recipients of it who it would benefit. It's insane. It's completely insane. But they'll do that. Like I said, the only good arguments are ones that say we've got to remember the problems of stuff like inflation. We've got to try and reduce this without harming that. That's fine. It's these arguments that say, oh, we can't ever have universal healthcare, we can't ever have free education, we can't ever have women getting the vote, we can't ever have the working class getting the vote, we can't ever have these people going to university, we can't ever have state pensions, we can't ever have child benefit, we can't ever have a redistribution of income. And all this sort of stuff is like, it's absolute garbage. But it's not, but they wrap it up in a way which convinces some people. And that's the doubt that I'm on about in the title of this video, that has got to be destroyed. It's got to be destroyed because although it's utter pile of stinking diarrhea, it nevertheless does work. It does put doubt in some people's minds. And some people, it does more than put doubt in their minds. It gets them agreeing with it 100%. It's just immoral. Just need to give this a bit of charge. This narcissistic power and control, it's got to go. Now, state superstructure's attitude to someone like me is that I'm an extremist. I'm the extremist. Let's look at that. It's not me that's trying to possess the vast majority of people with mind possession stuff. It's not me that wants to have the monopoly of power. It's me that wants to vanquish propaganda. It's me that's striving for peace and equality. So anyway, that's the main stuff. It's not me it's them casting doubt in heads with clever sounding arguments. I don't play that game. It's them causing division. That's what that doubt thing achieves. It's successful. It's them that would ultimately literally kill me for the sake of their status quo propaganda. It's not me that would literally kill them for the sake of overcoming their status quo propaganda. At least they would kill a version of me that would take a more extroverted, active, frontline type position. They'd get the tanks out and the guns out. This is like in the event of propaganda matrix being seen through. They would do that as well. They would literally kill me. So they're the extremists, is what I'm saying. I think this kill me point gets across the point I frequently made in the past, that just because X, Y, and Z seem like nice people who are state insiders does not mean that the state superstructure is nice. X, Y, and Z are enablers of mass murder, whether they seem nice in everyday life or not. At Nuremberg trial, the Allies said that the Nazis came across as nice people in everyday life. It's exactly the same thing. That was their state superstructure. So for them, the Nazis, from the Nazis' perspective, they hadn't done anything wrong. Why is it that nice people enable extremism, you might wonder? The answer is because of power, control, status, wealth, and income. That is what people seem to put over and above niceness. So they don't want to see through what gives them power, control, status, wealth, and income. So our state superstructure has got the same psychology as the Nazi state superstructure. We must smash this because the propaganda matrix is evil. So they would call me extreme, but it's not me that wants domestic, massive, centralized power screaming out propaganda for 150 years from SW1. It's not me bombing schools and hospitals and then going on TV and saying, oh, well, it was collateral damage and I have a good night's sleep tonight. Anyway, I slept like a baby. Then it does that. And also, of course, for anyone who says, well, it might have been accidental and all this. Okay, right, okay. So it's not me that literally tries to hide the fact that sometimes Allied soldiers kill innocent people in the streets deliberately, get caught by WikiLeaks and Julian Assange because they're never going to admit it. That's the only way that was ever going to come out. And then says, oh, well, it doesn't matter because it was our side. And by the way, we should be getting that Assange arrested for releasing that information. That's a classic deflection, by the way, when they do that, rather than focus on the people being shot dead in cold blood in the streets for no reason, they focus on Julian Assange for having the audacity to release it and said he should go to prison. Yeah, would they do that if Russia had or China had been the ones who Assange had exposed? I'm just trying to think of that one. Assange exposes Russian soldiers killing people in cold blood for no reason, and then the West said that it's disgusting that Assange had done that. No, actually, I think he wouldn't. I think they would blame Russia and China. Well, would you not? I just spotted an hypocrisy. Would you believe it? They sound so good when they're in suits or acting all smart and intelligent, don't they? But I wouldn't melt. Seems like I caught them out. Oops. Such fucking hypocrites. I think Assange deserves a medal. I'm going to apply the same logic to our side as they do to the other side. If you kill people in cold blood, you should be the ones in trouble, not the one exposing it. The state superstructure don't like it when Mr. Policeman finds out their crimes, do they? And killing people in cold blood is pretty much a crime in most people's books. I'm sorry, it's bloody evil. So, yes, rather like the Nazis did to the Jews when he just shot them dead. Just the same thing, really, isn't it? The vast inequality in wealth, in power, in status, and what you're allowed to do and not do, depending on whether you're in the state superstructure, is all for narcissistic power and control reasons. It's not me that is on the side of people being shot dead in cold blood just because they've got a British or American uniform on. No, it's not. It's the state superstructure. I'm on Julian Assange's side. And Assange isn't on the state superstructure's side. I can take that to the bank. It's not me that wants to possess the minds and poison the minds and socially poison society with propaganda. It's me that wants that vanquished. We're not the extremists. The state superstructure is the extremist. Those of us who think that power at the top should be about the level of local news, local TV news, local newspapers. Can you imagine how much less propaganda would exist in society if that was the top? Can you imagine how much less war crimes would be if we just only defended our own nation? Can you imagine how much less income inequality there would be if there were no billionaires and if we had universal basic income and if we had a constitution that guaranteed that vast inequality cannot go back to the levels it was once at? Can you imagine how much less extremism there would be if we had peace and relative equality? For goodness sake, this is really obvious. See through the propaganda, see through it, see what they've done to your head. They're the extremists. We're the good guys. We are the good guys. Don't consume the propaganda matrix. That's the video.